Welcome to Poetry with Shing, where we uncover the beauty behind poetry. In today's poetry comparison, we'll be looking at The Lost Baby poem by Lucille Clifton and The Mother by Gwendolyn Brooks. So the Lost Baby poem will be poem A and The Mother will be poem B. So how we'll be doing this, just like any other episode, would be firstly me going through how we might structure a possible response to the idea of um, abortion, which is the main gist of the question. So if you can't read my handwriting, the question is write a critical comparison of the following poems, considering in detailed ways in which language, style, and form contribute to each poet's portrayal of abortion. Alright, without further ado, let's begin. The Lost Baby poem by Lucille Clifton and The Mother by Gwendolyn Brooks both reveal the pain that a mother experiences as a result of loss after an abortion. Poem A, the Lost Baby poem, adopts a melancholic, regretful tone that has a hint of self-critique and blame on the act of abortion. Hence Clifton, in poem A, views abortion as a crime worthy of punishment, with the shadow of the gruesome deed haunting one for eternity. On the other hand, poem B, the Mother, employs a forced, strong facade towards abortion by using a firm and forceful tone. However, the false front exhibited is not lasting, as the poem progresses to reveal the poet's true attitude towards abortion, about it being a sinful deed that brings with it strong lasting feelings of regret. Both poems employ differing structures, with poem A adopting a free verse structure and poem B using an AABB rhyme scheme. So this is free verse, this is AABB. For different purposes. In poem A, the free verse is used to highlight the fluidity of the creation of memory that one will experience after abortion. Without the child, it is human nature for the mother to begin to imagine what could have happened if the child was born, thereby creating a large space of imagination of the memories that the mother could have made with the child. Hence, poem A is conveying that abortion brings with it the burden of expectations of what could have been life for the mother with the baby, and this burden contributes to the regret of the mother for not choosing to keep the child. On the other hand, poem B uses an AABB rhyme scheme to reveal the rhythmic and monotonous quality of the mother's consolations to herself about abortion. The poem uses this rhyme scheme as seen in Forget and Get in the first stanza, and Hair and Air in the first stanza. The AABB rhyme scheme in the first stanza is thus revealing of the habitual and almost mechanical quality of the mother consoling herself after the abortion, and telling herself that she had made the right choice, thereby putting up a strong facade and remaining convinced of her choice to abort. However, the rhyme scheme in the second stanza morphs into irregularity, with there being no regular pattern in rhyme. This irregularity signals the wavering of the mother's conscience, and reflects the human condition of hesitation and deliberation of one's choices after the choice has been made. Finally, in the last stanza, there is no rhyme at all, highlighting the progression of the mother through denial of the pain that comes with abortion, as one is hurt and guilty for hurting the child, followed by wavering and doubting of one's choice, and finally the revelation that the choice of abortion would bring regret. Thus, poem B views the mental process of coping after abortion as a progression from a state of denial to questioning to finally understanding the severity of one's choice. Both poems employ repetition to differing purposes as well. In poem A, the repetition of "What did I know" in stanza 1 here highlights the haunting effect of abortion that troubles the mother throughout the rest of her life. The repetition in the exclamation also connotes a conversational effect, where the mother is speaking with her unborn child, almost as if talking and begging for forgiveness of the child. Thus, poem A presents the pain and suffering of loss of a child as everlasting and would continue to follow one throughout one's life. With loss also comes guilt, as one slowly comes to terms with the choice of abortion that cannot be undone. Repetition is also used in poem B, as seen in the last stanza, "Believe me, I loved you all, believe me, I knew you." The strong assertion made through the commanding tone of "believe me" reveals the strong conviction the speaker has about her undying love for her unborn children. This thus reflects how the loss of a life will not rid with it the feelings of attachment and love. Furthermore, with a command, there is also a sense of the speaker conversing with the reader, showing that memory and longing for someone one has never met. In this case, the unborn child is a universal experience that is relatable. This longing for the unborn child also highlights the extent of guilt manifesting in those who choose to abort, as she begins to have illogical hallucinations of the possible memories she could have made with the child, thereby portraying Poem B's view that abortion does not only destroy the child's innocent life, but also takes a huge toll on the mother's mental well-being, and distorts her mental state to be one of longing for the child. Additionally, both poets use perspectives to differing objectives. In poem A, the first person point of view is used, with the speaker taking on I and speaks to the unborn child. By speaking to the unborn child, poem A is revealing that it is human to desire connections with others, especially those whom one is close to, even if they are dead. Thus, the barriers of life are broken when one yearns for communication with dead loved ones. On the other hand, in poem B, the point of view changes from you in the first stanza to I in the remaining stanzas. So an idea of the you and I. In the first stanza, the use of you is to establish a connection with the reader over the loss of a child, and also provides a sense of detachment of the speaker from the matter. Thus, poem B is presenting abortion as an act so traumatizing that humans have to distance themselves from it. However, the inevitability of coming to terms with the loss is revealed with a change of use of personal pronoun to I, and as it brings with it a personal touch and connection with the unborn child. It also places the abortion into perspective of the person choosing to abort. Hence, poem B is highlighting the process of one refusing to face the reality of abortion, but ultimately having to accept the trailing guilt it brings. Both poets use vivid imagery, with poem A employing imagery of nature to reflect punishment and self-blame, while poem B employs imagery of suffering in a bid to justify abortion. Poem A uses vivid imagery in "Let the rivers pour over my head, let the sea take me for a stiller." So this idea would be below here as underlined. So the imagery of nature in the form of water and the seas mirror the death of the baby by drowning. Thus, with the violence of the imagery as connoted by rivers pouring over her head, signaling drowning and suffering pain with large volumes of water hitting her head, poem A is showing the inevitability of self-hatred and self-blame, such that one would be desperate enough for repentance of her sins of abortion to resort to such ideas of like um, herself being subject to some sort of suffering and harm and destruction. Thus, abortion brings a mental toll on the mother, and she will experience mental deterioration and degradation. In addition, poem A uses vivid imagery of nature in portraying the vulnerability of the unborn child, thereby victimizing him and invoking more empathy for the child, hence fueling her guilt. The poet describes the child to slip like ice into strangers' hands and to have fallen naked as snow into winter. The choice of slip connotes an accident, and it seems that the child's fate is beyond his control, thus being susceptible and vulnerable to dangers including strangers' hands, connoting the unknown. Vulnerability is further emphasized in naked, as it signals that the child is bare for all to see and thus susceptible to exploitation. Furthermore, the choice of winter paints the unborn child in a pitiful light, as he will be cold and winter is typically the harshest season. As such, the poet uses vivid imagery of winter to paint a pitiful image of the child to garner more sympathy for him, thereby amplifying the large magnitude of the mother's sins and causing more guilt on the mother. Hence, poet A's view on abortion is that she is against abortion due to the harmful effects it brings across the mother and her child. In contrast, the imagery of suffering in poem B justifies the act of abortion. Poet B describes experiences of life that the child will undergo should he be alive, as your tumults, your marriages, aches, and your deaths. The word choice of aches and deaths, as found over here, um, your aches and your deaths, um, all connote pain and suffering. This is especially so with death being the inevitable and ultimate end in life. Thus, Poet B is presenting the perspective of how the unborn child receives salvation by not having to undergo the sufferings in life with abortion. As such, the justification lessens the mother's pain for losing the child. Both poets employ punctuation differently as well. In poem A, the words are all not capitalized, including the personal pronouns, revealing the feelings of smallness of the mother and the unborn child on the greater scheme of things in life. It also places the mother in an inferior position with the personal pronoun I not capitalized, hence reinforcing the poet's view that abortion is a sin that deserves punishment. The use of small letters could also add to intimacy of the poem, as the mother is conversing to the child, and parental relationships are typically intimate and personal, thus reflecting the yearning of mothers of aborted children to recreate the parent-child relations between the children. On the other hand, poem B capitalizes personal pronouns at the start of every line, connoting distance and formality in the treatment of abortion, hence reflecting poet B's view of abortion on a more detached level rather than personal. Towards the end of the poem, the capitalization connotes a form of respect for the unborn child that comes with the mother's love for him, revealing the complexities and feelings of the mother throughout the process of coping with abortion. While there is no punctuation in poem A and random breaks between words in a line, poem B contains punctuation. Poem A's blanks in the lines of the poem reflect memory gaps that were not filled by the mother because of the absence of the child. It also represents the absence of the child that disrupts the mother's daily life, such that she has to pause momentarily frequently in the poem. Thus, poet A is displaying how absence can break the rhythm and normalcy in one's life. The punctuation in poem B connotes deliberation of the speaker and represents mothers who abort, and as they slowly, hesitatingly come to terms with abortion. To conclude, Poet A adopts a stance that is anti-abortion and reveals the transient nature of communication barriers between the living and the dead. Poet A also highlights the destruction of one after the sinful act of abortion, akin to murder, has been committed, and portrays the difficulty of coping with loss. Memory is also shown as taking a powerful effect after abortion, as the mother imagines what could have been with her child if he were alive. On the other hand, poem B displays the progression of coping with abortion, from distancing oneself from the deed to denial and finally the torturing acceptance. That's it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.